Limos and Roses is a humorous and occasionally offensive podcast. All opinions are based on the bachelors and bachelorettes being in the top 99 percentile of their respective genders with regard to their physical attributes. The Limos and Roses podcast fully supports the LGBT community. Any reference to a bachelor or bachelorette's sexual preference is merely conjecture based off of observations. In other words, no offense. And thank you for listening. Enjoy.
And welcome to the very 40th. What? Is this an episode? Is it a podcast? We're 40 years old, guys. Congratulations. It's our 40th birthday. 40th episode of Limos and Roses.
40.
Yeah, 40.
This, of course, is the JoJo Chris Harrison Fletcher polygraph tested, semi-sober Bachelorette podcast. She maybe gets married. We don't know. That you all know and love. The recap podcast over all other recap podcasts that covers season 16 of The Bachelorette. Thank you so much for showing up. As you may or may not know, this very show began with our own Bachelor Fantasy League entitled Limos and Roses. On this podcast, I am joined by my husband,
Jet,
and our buddy,
Frace.
And me. I am your host and moderator, Chelsea. So let's hop right into the date breakdown.
Breakdown.
With the continuation of this 2-on-1. So there's Noah time, there's Bennett time. It's so ridiculous. It's so producer planted and driven, and let's go to text about it.
The big thorn in the rose of Tayshia's side is always when her integrity is called into question.
She's taking it a little seriously. I mean, she just mentions integrity constantly, and I'm like,
yeah,
you know, Tayshia, I believe your integrity was questioned the second you got on this show. Like,
yeah,
it's
it's like what Chelsea said. It's producer driven, and Bennett gets some one-on-one time with her and just completely shoots himself in the foot. Then Noah gets it and just doesn't pull the trigger, on his foot, and that's the only difference. Like, one's walking around hobbled because he shot himself in the foot, and one just never pulled the trigger.
He pulled the trigger on those Tic Tacs, I'll tell you that much.
He certainly did. That was my favorite part of that first 10 minutes.
But did you notice during the 2-on-1, you see, dude, Bennett was sweating a lot. That was
he knew.
telling.
Yeah.
When she was sitting there with the rose, holding it up, we all knew what was happening. Nobody was getting the rose there.
Yeah,
but she was sitting there with the rose, and she calls Clark Kent. She calls Bennett condescending, and we're like, yeah. And then she says to Noah, "You're not ready for a relationship," and we're all like, yeah.
I
wish she had just eaten the rose.
Yeah, I love that she does consolation speeches though.
Yeah, always. She's letting the viewers at home know,
It's like she has honorable mention ribbons that she's handing out.
So anything to say before we move on with this rose ceremony?
Unless you have something nice to say.
I finally figured it out, dude. I figured it out. So here's who Brendan is. Because, he's still crying, obviously, without tears. He's the tearless crier. But I figured him out. He is the Bachelorette equivalent of pop music's Sam Smith. Everything's a ballad. Even the up-tempos sound like he's crying. It's what is this guy's deal? He's
I could
Sam
not
Smith.
Agree with you more, Jet, because there's this one song by Sam Smith, and he just keeps repeating over, "I wish I had somebody to die for." And I'm like, dude, that's intense. Better lyric. I wish I had somebody to live for.
Riley breaks out the game, dude. This is where Riley's like, yo, so I've got game. Let's just show you some old school, traditional, non-bachelor gamemanship. By the way, not sure if you realize this, but it's our 1-week anniversary, lady.
It's been 1 week since you talked to me. Close your eyes and hear some cake,
That's really all I have.
Well, thank heavens, because we get a Rose rundown.
Oh, I'm glad I stretched.
Come back! Jack, come back!
He just jumped.
Whoa!
Rose run around.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sweating like Bennett right now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right. First name is Brendan.
The original front runner.
Sam Smith.
Riley.
Sure, he's a safe second.
Nailed it.
Blake.
What?
Seriously? Yeah. That's like serious. I just wrote seriously?
Ivan.
You. I love Ivan.
I know.
Not
He just,
gonna-
I know, but I wrote he must
gonna
be
get
so nice.
crushed.
Like,
He's gonna get
just
crushed.
so nice.
Yeah.
And the final rose goes to Noah.
Producer Rose.
Yeah, I wrote wow, like a legit wow. Like I can't believe he got a rose. It was silliness, whatever.
Moving on. Rest in one piece. Spencer.
Well, one piece romper would be nice, yeah.
Ed. And DeMar. You guys, DeMar.
Demar had some legit
That's
tears
DeMar.
there. That was heavy.
And honestly, I think he got the least screen time out of any of those guys.
I would agree.
He was
And he had to
probably
see, but he was somehow the most emotional. So there must have been stuff we didn't see.
he was probably just like a nice guy.
Yeah. So, rose ceremony down. We move forward, and there's a date card. It's a one-on-one for Ben. Falling in love is full of surprises. This is the scavenger hunt date that both of them just want to be over. So then Ben rips open a cactus piñata and they sit down and talk, and it's fine. Anybody have words for this daytime portion of the day?
I started writing like really dumb things like razor scooters are fun, piñatas are fun. All right.
Yeah.
Like what do you...
Yeah. Well, at least those things are more fun than this date. Like, dude, they're on a date and Ben's like, I fully trust you. And I'm like, you barely even know each other. Like, full trust. First of all, she's hooking up with 6 other dudes. So let's just put that out there.
Yeah, how much can you trust her?
I fully trust you. Okay, lucky her. Damn. Oh, and I did say, I wrote actually a specific Frace quote for Frace here. I said, Frace would say, hey, Ben, don't cheers to real life. Just don't do it. Because he literally cheers. He goes, this is to real life. It's like, what are you cheersing to? You don't know anything about real life with this woman.
Yeah.
For real life.
Hey guys, cheers to real life.
Cheers to
Yeah,
real
cheers
life.
to real life. I'll drink
Guys,
to real
cheers to our unedited real life podcast.
We'll fix it in post.
life. To life. L'chaim.
We'll fix it in post.
So are we in the night portion then? Because I have something to say about this.
Yeah,
So we
this is
can move
heavy.
into this evening portion of the date because I personally believe the daytime portion was a really giant nothing burger. So yeah, go to town.
Yep. So what I've realized is, we've talked about these guys, they all have like lived some life. And it's the battle of broken back and 2 failed suicide attempts versus brain tumor and rehab. She asked these guys to open up, and then when they start to open up about some really heavy things, there's only a few ways that you can react to that. Like if somebody tells you these things, she can only be like, I'm so sorry, or that's terrible, or I'm so happy that you've come out on top type stuff. And in that opening up, she also gets to scare herself into being like, well, geez, now that this guy's really opened up, it's going to be a lot harder to break up with this guy. I should have never asked him to open up.
Yeah, she needs to be careful too with some of this. These people are coming to her with all this baggage of sorts, to therapeutically release. And she keeps going, well, I'm still here, or look where you are, but you might dump someone. It's like you're saying I'm still here. Then what do they think tomorrow when they wake up and you're not?
And as usual, like it could just be the editing, but that rose came real quick after that heavy suicide talk. You know what I mean? Like that was
Yeah, she was probably like, can we just like go back to making out and like hitting
Yeah.
piñatas? Like,
Well-
Roses fix everything. We know
Well,
that.
what's great is she has a surprise for him, and she takes him in to another area, and it's everyone's favorite performing and recording artist. Let's all say it together. Adam.
I don't know who he is.
Hambrick.
Adam Hambrick, yes.
Oh, Hambrick, that's right.
That was my never guess.
So yeah, so they dance the night away. Ben gets a rose, obviously, which means he's the first official hometown selection. So congrats to Ben.
There it is.
All right. Back at the ranch, there is a group date card, but not really a card. It's just a group date because there are so few guys left. This is the group date with Zach, Brendan, Ivan, Noah, and Riley, and it is a polygraph, aka BS test. So I thought we would talk some polygraph facts in this week's pop quiz.
Oh,
I'm so excited because I was going to say that was not a polygraph.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Did I know it was coming?
That
Ask
was
me.
like-
Did I know
yeah.
the pop quiz was coming? Yes, I did. Dang it.
How accurate is a polygraph test, percentage-wise?
I'm going to say 50-50.
Wouldn't that just completely devalue the polygraph? I'm going to say 70%.
Oh, Jet's closer. So according to the American Polygraph Association, a polygraph test taken correctly is over 90% accurate. However, when computers take over that polygraph, the accuracy climbs closer to 100%. So
Well, of course
That's just insanity.
of course the Polygraph Institute is going to say that.
Did
The people trying to sell polygraphs are-
They should polygraph the Polygraph Institute. Yeah, it works 66% of the time. It works every time.
Every time.
Come on, let's stop.
question number 2. Can polygraphs be used in a court of law in this country?
I would say a polygraph test results can be considered as part of evidence, but it can't be used to definitively come up with a verdict.
Frace?
Conjecture. Is that even the right word? I should have said abstain or like.
Abstain.
Yeah, like
The defense rests. No further questions, Your Honor.
No further questions, Your Honor. I actually agree with the prosecutor here. No, I agree with Jet. I mean, that's my guess as well. I couldn't have said it better.
I mean, it is partially correct. Basically, it's a states' rights thing. So in 1998, the Supreme Court actually made some moves to allow states the right to ban polygraphs as their results can't necessarily be verified, and this states' rights ruling still stands today. Question number 3, will any questions asked get an accurate read on a polygraph? Like, can you ask any question to get an accurate read?
No.
I'm going to say no. No.
Yeah, no.
You have to ask yes or no questions. So
Okay.
that being said,
You know what? Here's the thing. If you're going to take a polygraph, just show up.
just show up. And frankly, if someone is monitoring the polygraph, it should probably be JoJo Fletcher.
Who's vetting the validity of this test? We have green and red light.
Ivan and Noah got softball questions.
Ivan was like, this is the easiest date I've ever been on because he's the sweetest, nicest, most honest guy. He's like, ask me anything. You can ask me anything. I'm Ivan.
Yeah. But he also got like, do you like ice cream? And he's like, yeah. You know, whereas the other one's like, have you ever killed a man? You know, like,
Let's move on into the nighttime portion of this date / this rose would also be a hometown rose. All right. Let's talk about these guys and their discussions.
So Zaxi is outed for being a cheater,
Uh-huh.
you know, which is like a big deal. But then he tells the story about being in 6th grade and he cheated on the girl in 6th grade and French kissed it. And I said to myself, that's a great way for a cheater to get away with cheating. She didn't say, did you ever cheat again?
Right.
I know.
He just
that
said,
would've
I
been
cheated,
heavy.
and that's when I cheated. You know what? People cheat sometimes. I mean, and he admitted to it. And then he spun a tale of, which was also a truth. But he, you know, telling the truth and telling the full truth are two different things.
Oh, for sure.
You know, in a court of law, you know, they would have said,
there would have been further interrogations.
Further interrogation. And I'm actually a little bit upset that Tayshia didn't go further. And she goes, because she was like all smitten, you know, like, oh, you
she's
kissed
like,
the girl at the roller rink
knee.
or whatever.
She was like, I thought you silly goose.
You silly goose. I thought you were a cheater.
Well, let's go
You're
make
a
out.
cheater.
Cut to next episode. He's like, yeah, and then I cheated multiple times.
Yeah,
after that.
Well, if that happens, he might be in trouble because he should have given that information right off the bat. Like if he's withholding that and then is going to come forth with it later, then that's troublesome.
So she said that she was falling in love
Yeah, she did.
with
I
Zach.
I know. And Sam Smith was dropping a line like he was like talking about it being. He was like, let's look at this. Our relationship is face value, and it's like all you guys have is face value. Nobody knows anyone on this show. It's based purely on face value. And then he drops a weird line. He's just so strange, Brendan.
Yeah.
And he drops a weird line. He said, "I'm potentially actually falling in love with her."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is a potential actuality? Potential actualities.
It sounds like a 17th or 18th step in Scientology. Like
Potential
I'm gonna
actuality.
study
Yeah, there you go.
Chapter about potential actuality.
Yeah, no
sure.
doubt. Yeah, just this obscure non-truth. And then Riley was very still and stoic. He brought some heavy baggage that we thought was going to be a massive unveiling. And
Well, that was the whole thing. I was like, you took a really long time to say you don't get along with your dad.
I kept waiting for
I
some
know it's
crazy
it's
story.
terrible and maybe there's probably more to that, but he still skirted. All I had to say was, I have a really bad relationship with my father, or I had a good relationship. Now I have a bad relationship, and I changed my name because I don't want to be associated with my father's name.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be something deeper to it. He was getting heavy. Like, well, if you come see my family, my dad's in prison, my mom's currently
That's what I thought.
In rehab,
Mhm.
like
Something
Demi's
like that.
mom style.
Yeah.
Anything. But yeah, or like we live in a really rundown trailer park, and we're the worst trailer house on the lot. And it's something, whatever. I mean, Dean's dad lived in a teepee, and he didn't break that news until they showed up with the front flap.
I mean, it's sort of terrible for me to be like, come on, Riley.
He hasn't,
It's just-
but
well, it
he
was
hasn't
strange.
had a one-on-one, right? We talk about the Ben stuff and the Zach stuff, and it's like those guys, the Brandon divorce talk, like this is all serious stuff that gets mentioned because these people have been on one-on-one. And Dwayne Henderson Jr., aka Riley, has only had these little spurts of time on these giant group dates, and since this is the smallest group date he's been on, this is the most time he has.
And
So,
emotions are relative. Emotions are relative. The way we respond, like just because somebody has had a brain tumor and another person's had suicidal tendencies, and this person's father hates him or they don't get along, that doesn't. Yes, from an outsider's point of view, you could you could rank them on severity.
Yeah,
But
it's
the way
all
the
valid.
person feels inside is more important, particularly when it comes to a relationship and opening up. And those weren't fake emotions. It's clearly heavy on him. I think that's more speaks to how closed off he is emotionally. And that was a big opening up for him maybe. And that's good. But,
I agree.
and not to mention, she should be like, oh, that's all? Thank God, an actual normal guy on here. And he's being really emotional right now. So I can respect that. Dude, I like Riley. I do.
Well, let's stray from the word normal.
Yeah.
Wait,
Because
normal is relative, like emotions are relative. Normalcy is relative on this show. There is no
Yes.
such thing as it's the new normal.
Well, and who gets the group date rose?
There was not one.
He doesn't give it to anyone
Yep.
because she would
Yeah.
have given it to Zach C. But then she heard that story from Riley and was like, I can't.
She's caught up in that world of,
Tough.
in the moment, she's there to console them. And then it's like she suddenly wakes up and remembers that she has to dump these people. And it's like, you've got to keep a weird distance.
Do you guys see that?
Ooh.
That's
The
really
light
crazy.
cascade.
Vodka?
Oh.
Yeah, it's like the brightest light I've ever seen. Wow.
Hmm.
This blinding sparkle and sheen can only come from the one Frace's Fashion Corner.
Lights descended upon me. I thought it was aliens from another realm, but instead it was a corner of light blasting you in the face with Frace's Fashion Corner. I feel rejuvenated and new, and I'm being sucked up into the corner right now. Let's all beam up here. And you're in the corner. Welcome to my corner. So I love her turtle ring. If anybody caught that in the beginning of the episode. By the way, red wine and white pants, be careful, Noah. Be careful, especially when you're not getting that rose. I saw you slam that Merlot, and I was just like, whoa, watch out, pants. We're in for a little Frace's fashion debacle in any second. Brendan, this outfit is atrocious. It's like a turtleneck priest collar ring sweater under a jacket. Don't wear it. Get off the show if you're going to bring that type of fashion. It's not allowed in the corner, and this is a reason why you're not going any further, in my opinion.
That's his MO, dude. He brought the Steve Jobs on night one. Don't forget.
Yeah. No, I wanted to forget. I wanted to forget that fashion choice. JoJo looks hot. I said hot is the word. I am upset that she has replaced Chris Harrison, but I'm not upset about looking at the replacement, if you know what I mean. Also, why do all these guys hate socks? I've mentioned this every single week. What is the hatred of socks? Can somebody please tell me why we're not wearing socks with pants? Whoa, the little black dress, the LBD on Tayshia in the night portion, it's known. I mean, this is a $1,700 dress, by the way. It's a shimmered bodycon, and it's absolutely stunning. The magenta romper on JoJo, not a fan. Sorry, I don't even have much more to say about it. Tayshia, oh my God, the shorts romper with the big open skirt train and the ruffles. That is one of my favorite looks that she's worn all season. Although I did like that mocha shimmer one. That was also stunning. Oh yeah, there was no Chris Harrison, so I couldn't talk about watches and I couldn't talk about him like dressing down. Ed gets a facial. Take me out of here.
And I'm too sexy for this song.
Yeah, it's simple as that.
Honestly, there wasn't a lot of fashion because she had on a lot of her same, like the whole.
It was like one night. It was all like one night, basically.
The whole first half hour was her in that in her look from the previous, because it was the 2-on-1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot going on.
What I meant to mention earlier, this is so funny, dude. Because I was sitting here thinking, dude, was there even like a daytime situation? But there was, the beginning of the group date. And dude, I had to show Chelsea. Just go back. In fact, I'll just show you on my phone in a second. And evaluate the way these guys run. All right, here we go.
We ready? Gates are going to be weird, isn't it?
Are we ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Just watch the runs.
Well, normally I don't like to watch the runs, but...
Oh, here we go.
And you could go back and look at each individual run, and it's fantastic.
Zach was like winded.
Yeah.
He was like,
I think, dude, they're literally... I think one of them was actually running in place. It was like, what is happening right now? It's ridiculous.
Well, you guys, I have 3 words for you. Bennett is back.
Oh, boy.
B is B.
How creepy was that? Him lurking in the shadows.
I loved it. I think, okay, my notes verbatim say, this is fun as. That's what my notes say. Can we talk about the fact that he drops the L-bomb? Talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, that was my next note. I said, a last-ditch effort to ever stay on the show is always dropping the L-bomb.
It's just so desperate, though.
I've never seen it work.
No.
But
have we ever seen it work?
No. Bennett has loved one person in his life.
Bennett.
There you go.
Okay.
Now, I do like Bennett. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I can't wait for Paradise. I think Bennett's awesome, and he is a gem for that show because he's going to have a psychological analysis of each and every person who walks onto that beach. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking forward to it. They should have him on as like just a commentator because, I mean, his calm demeanor and his look, it's ridiculously cocky, but he is very confident.
If I was a producer and I was producing him, I'd say, Bennett, they're loving it. They're loving all of this. Just keep going. Like, keep being ridiculous. Like, your fans are you start using words like fans. Your fans are loving this.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, okay, I'll just be like more me. Like, or I'll be a heightened me,
Dude, look at who's left.
We talked about that.
Look at who's left. They have to bring him back. They're like, can we get some levity up in here? But
there's
I think
no
it's
drama.
Just gotten a little
That's
heavy.
all it is.
There's no drama, but it's still heavy. Yeah. So it's like, well, if it's dramatic without drama, we need something else. And Bennett's still on the premises.
Yeah, and it's hard because we look at Bachelor, Bachelorette is super fluff, fun shows, right? They are mindless background noise at best, right? So whenever we look at these shows, they're a great escape when, I don't know, there's a pandemic happening. What a great escape. And you don't want to go and watch real people talk about real things that are really heavy and really matter. You want to see Bennett talk about his fancy collection of bow ties. That's what you want to see.
Isn't it Hitchcock who said, film is just real life with all the boring stuff taken out? And I think they're just trying to
it's just all the heightened
they're just trying
moments.
to, we get it. And I think truthfully, while I do appreciate this season and I love the guys and I love how great it is, it really is. I think it's almost just because it's a deviation from the norm. It's refreshing. But if it was this season after season after season, we'd be like, what are we watching? It's just all serious. And it's like, it's just a nice bit of respite from the storms that they usually present. But yeah, after it does become a little like, how many weeks are we going to watch this of just like a bunch of nice guys? Who's going to win? Good for them,
And she says, I've always wanted a guy to show up for me like that.
I just rolled my eyes. Yeah.
I didn't write it because I didn't even want. I didn't want to give it any energy. She did not allow a kiss though, which was awesome.
Yeah,
amazing.
It was really fun to watch.
Very serious. She's like, nice try, and she was serious. She wasn't even laughing.
And since we are living for this re-entrance of Bennett back into our lives, even though it's the same episode, so he kind of never left.
Yeah.
I figured we could re-enter the beautiful cinnamon smelling world of your hometown hopeful.
Show me that smile.
Just one of the great songs of all time. Not just. I mean, it's definitely the greatest TV intro song of all time. But it's just one of the great songs of all time. I mean, all the versions of it. The version in the last season was really dramatic, kind of Boys to Men-ish, if you remember, and it was really pretty. And it was like the camera was just panning all that you'd experienced over the 8 to 10 years or whatever, how long the show was on the air. And it's really kind of romantic. They even have little Ashley Johnson, the new baby that they brought into the world, and it was fun. Not that I watched the show or anything.
This is, I know we go off on tangents, but that takes the Riley cake right there.
Yes, the Riley cake.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with Frace first. Your top 4, including Ben.
Zach, I already had. Steve Jobs. And Ivan.
Yeah,
Brendan.
Yeah, Ivan.
Yeah. I'm going to go. I'm pretty sure Ben's going to get it. My boy Riley is. I'm feeling even stronger about it this week than I did last. I'm actually going to go Bennett. Yeah, Zach C, Bennett, Ben, and Riley.
I like it.
What about you, Chelsea? I want to know your hometown hopefuls.
Well, my hometown hopefuls are Ben, Zach C, Blake, and Noah. Just kidding, because there's a whole set of mental lull spoilers at the end of this episode that shows Blake and Noah at the mental all. And I was like, you can't show them in those clips. Hey, I wish them the very best, whatever that may look like. I do. This has been
Jet
and Frace
and Chelsea, leaving you with these parting hashtags. Hashtag show up, hashtag boobs, hashtag Chris Harrison, hashtag Chris Harrison for Christmas, hashtag no Chris Harrison, hashtag JoJo Fletcher, hashtag fashion corner, hashtag Zoomcast, hashtag pop quiz, hashtag La Quinta, hashtag Tic Tacs, hashtag Bennett is back, hashtag milk toast. That's one word. Hashtag blue corn B-roll, hashtag hometown hopefuls, hashtag socks with pants. Guys, we are all here for the right reasons. Bye-bye.
Now, wait. Aren't all hashtags one word? You just specified that's one word.
Milk toast. Milk toast is one word.
Oh, okay. Well, but the hashtag was going to be one word regardless.
Yeah, I know.
You know
I know, but we're trying to make it.
Okay. Well,
One word.
Well, then how about we finish it off with 2 words?
What 2 words were you thinking?
I don't know. Lil Jon.